heart beats one. Your heart beats one. This heart beats one. Our hearts beat as one. In our short, sweet lives, we're all searching for the light, the same light that makes trees stand. Our roots grow down, branches reach for the sky. I know inside that you and I share the same heart, the same soul, the same love, and I know my heart beats one. Your heart beats one. This heart beats one. Our hearts beat as one. My heart beats one. Your heart beats one. This heart beats one. Our hearts beat as one. My heart beats one. Your heart beats one. This heart beats one. Our hearts beat as one. This heart beats one. Our hearts beat as one.
Hi everyone, welcome to OneHeart TV. This is Johanna Beekman, your host for today. I'm so honored and thrilled to be introducing our guests for today's show, Sherrie Howard and Mark Kelso. Mark Kelso signed his first record deal with EMI Virgin record label Narada over 35 years ago, and since that time has provided music for consciousness-raising events with Michael Jackson, Deepak Chopra, Ram Dass, Deva Premal and Miten, and of course his favorite, Sherrie Howard, who we're also interviewing today. With over 25 solo and collaborative albums with his credit, Mark has worked closely with Benji and Heather Wertheimer of Shantala, Todd Narayan, John Ducott, Carrie Grossman, and dozens of other chant artists. And as a music producer from his Muddy Angel Studios, he has produced all of those plus more from where he is now. And we'll get into that in our interview in a minute here. So Sherrie and Mark have been working also on some releases that we're going to talk about collaboratively. They're both artists in their own right, but we're going to get into that a little bit later. First, I'm going to connect a little bit and talk about Sherrie and what she's got going on in the world. She's got over 1,000 hours of certified yoga teacher training, and she is a nature guide, trained vocalist, and sound healer, and she's a multi-talented international kirtan artist and Kripalu yoga teacher. Sherrie has toured in an international kirtan festivals and retreat centers, Kripalu, Omega, and Bodhi Tree, and private homes, and has toured with well-known chant artists Girish and Johanna Beekman. Who's that? So she has assisted Deva Premal and Miten in their recent online programs. Sherrie Howard's first album, Sukha Hridaya, has been a bestseller at Kripalu shops. Since her first album, she has released 2 singles with Mark Kelso digitally, both original compositions for the long-form Gayatri mantra and Om Shrim Maha Lakshmiyei Namaha. Okay, there's also another single these two have been up to a lot, obviously, since the pandemic. We got a little bit of time for our art all of a sudden. So they also got Maha Mantra Lullaby coming out. Both of these people have stayed active on Zoom despite the pandemic, and I'm excited to connect with them. Hi, Sherrie and Mark. Welcome.
Hi, Johanna. Thank you for having us.
It's such a blessing to be here.
It's such a blessing to be with you today. There you are. Welcome. So how are you? Where are you?
Oh, we're great. We are in Costa Rica, and we have been here for 6 months, unexpectedly. We came out at the beginning of March to take program with Deva Premal and Miten, and then also to lead our own retreat. And then the pandemic hit, and our flight was canceled, and we're still here.
What a blessing, and some might say not such a blessing to not be home with your normal life, but what a beautiful place to be stuck.
I love what Sherrie calls it.
I like to call it the blissful paradox.
Ah, I love that. That's great.
Yeah.
It really captures the light and shadow of this time for all of us. As cultural creatives, I think you've also found this. It's like, oh my gosh, I don't have to go out and do stuff. I can stay in and do stuff and go in and do stuff and see what emerges. And that's what this time has been for us, and many unexpected blessings that we'll be sharing with you over the course of the interview.
Oh, wow. Well, that's so amazing. And, you know, and I think that it's so beautiful that people in the genre of music that we're talking about, this consciousness raising vibrational music in sacred languages that we're kind of tuning into, we have a practice that we can be stuck with. So whether we're stuck somewhere, we're always at home in our hearts. Can you speak a little bit to that experience of landing out there and how you dealt with all the unknowns happening in the world as you landed in more unknown and the silver linings of such unknowns?
Yeah, I'll say something first.
Yeah.
Because we came to not only share our own mantra and yoga program, but also to study with, for us, people who are pretty much at the top of their practice. Although, as Miten was saying to me the other day, you know, people ask me to promote their music, or you know, how can I comment on their spiritual practice? It's like saying, wow, you should watch this guy do yoga in his bedroom. And I said, you know, we talked about how, and Sherrie has been such a proponent of this, is that we're not performers in this world. We are practitioners that invite other people to practice with us, because kirtan, as Jesus said, when 2 or more are gathered in my name, there I am. When the spirit of connection occurs, the divine shows up. And so You know, we
Beautiful.
at first, because of the pandemic, only did stuff on Zoom, but we wanted to stay connected with our Sangha. So we did those little Zoom things that you would tune into sometimes.
Yeah.
We did Facebook Live events every day for probably 2 or 3 months, and then we shifted it so that we were doing them once every 3 times a week, and then we shifted. We got busy, which was weird.
Exactly.
And
I've been hearing that a lot.
I
We
know, and
got
we're
we got
gonna-
spacious, and then we got busy.
I know,
Go ahead.
and then we're gonna be offering that again coming up here, but once
This
a
Monday,
week.
right?
Yeah. But we've been doing our own practices. We've been chanting, but we haven't. It's so sweet to be able to dive in and to really connect with the mantra and to connect with the music. And it was really sweet as well. We were doing the online live Facebook events to really connect with our people, and
Yeah.
to really know. Like I had feedback from some people like, "Wow, you really got me through the first part of this pandemic
Yeah.
through the music,
How
through the
wonderful.
mantra." Thank you.
One of the things that we did is we asked people to submit their mantras in any language, English affirmations, Sanskrit chants. I don't think we got asked for any Latin, but we did get asked for some Buddhist chants.
Mhm.
And then we either would make up, especially if it was just somebody's, I am love and light or something, we would just sing that, back
What a
to them.
beautiful-
Sangha.
What a
And I
beautiful
would draw out
description
of the hat.
of kirtan.
Yeah.
What a beautiful description of kirtan, that it could be in a sacred language or it could be in English, in our native tongue. And speaking of all of this practice, I really wanted to have that conversation to lead people into practice. So could you lead us in about 5 minutes of the feeling that you get when you chant? What is that? Can you express that to our viewers and our listeners?
Yeah.
So let's just first of all take a moment to ground. So close your eyes. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Exhale, let it go with an audible sigh. Take a moment to just settle into your space, into your seat. Meet yourself wherever you're at today, whatever that is. And just hold such compassion for whatever it is that you feel. And begin to notice your body, notice where you can let go and release. Letting go of any tension, anything you might be holding on to, just let it go. Let's take another big breath in, exhale, sigh it out. And bring your palms to touch, and we'll begin with an Om. Deep breath in. Namaste.
Namaste.
Our first offering will be to Ganesha. And Ganesha is said to be the remover of all obstacles. So, if there's something, in the mind that's in the way, or some physical object in the way, or whatever it might be, Ganesha helps you go through it, go beyond it. And it's a really beautiful mantra to chant in community. And the words are Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha.
Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Jai Ganesh, Jai Jai Ganesh,
Jai Jai.
Jai Ganesh, Jai Jai Ganesh. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha.
Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Jai Ganesh, Jai Jai Ganesh, Jai Jai Ganesh, Jai Jai Ganesh. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha.
Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Jai Ganesh, Jai Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh, Jai Jai Ganesh. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha.
All together. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Jai Ganesh, Jai Jai Ganesh, Jai Jai Ganesh, Jai Jai Ganesh. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Jai Ganesh, Jai Jai Ganesh, Jai Jai Ganesh, Jai Jai Ganesh. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Jai Ganesh, Jai Jai Ganesh, Jai Jai Ganesh, Jai Jai Ganesh. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha.
The divine is always waiting for us to ask for the obstacles to be removed. Between people, between hearts, between parts of ourselves, between us and the divine presence. And it's really just about asking and opening and recognizing that the blockage is there.
Jai Ganesh.
Jai Ganesh.
So Ganesha, as Sherrie and Mark are chanting about, is the ruler of the Muladhara chakra, or the root chakra in Hinduism. And so that's really the center for safety, stability, security, and calm. And I just find this time right now in the world to be such an incredible time to really meditate on the beginning. And while Ganesha this elephant-headed deity is really just a reflection of these internal landscapes that we're able to cultivate through this practice of bhakti yoga chanting, is a representation of all of these things that have really been uprooted for so many people right now. And so let's just take a moment in silence and to pray for those who have been suffering during these times. Thank you so much for that meditation, that practice of bhakti yoga, Sherrie and Mark. May all beings be healed and touched by the vibration of sacred sounds, and have happiness and freedom from suffering once more. So that's what this is about, this mantra practice, right, you guys? So I'd like to ask you, Sherrie and Mark, how is it that you got into this chanting of mantras and kirtan music as a practice?
You've been doing it longer. Why don't
Okay,
you
I'll
go
start.
first?
Age before beauty here. So when I actually did Miten, we were having lunch the other day, and Miten said, "How did you get into doing this?" And here's what I said. I said, you know, when I was little, like 4, 5, 6, I would dance and chant around the house, making up what for me were syllables that just made me feel good. You know, I was raised in a little Ohio Methodist home. I loved going to church. I loved sneaking out of the sanctuary and going down when I was little, just like stomping around the piano. And then I got asked when I was maybe 10 or 11 to start providing the music for junior church, which was basically get the kids out of the sanctuary because they're bored stiff and they're just going nuts, and down where we could sing and play and eat cookies and watch like slideshows, you know, on the scriptures. And so I just, from an early age, I didn't like anything better than making noise to connect with the divine. I sometimes if I lost something, which I still do to this day, I would spin around in a circle and chant aloud and say, "God, show me the way to find whatever it is I've lost." And inevitably, I would find what I was looking for, but I knew that if I just chanted and danced enough, that my self would get out of the way, and the divine self would come through. And God has not let me down. I'm a bhakta. I'm not that great of a Vedantist, you know, non-dual person. As a bhakta, I basically feel the need to get out of my own way, to let something that I don't quite identify with yet to come through. Sometimes when I'm really quiet, I feel the divine in me, but a lot of times it's like, God help me. And thank you. These are my 2 primary prayers. Yeah.
You had mentioned to me. You had mentioned to me earlier that Johanna's album Mantra Soul really connects you to what bhakti is for you.
I felt like, you know, Johanna, you're such a cross-cultural talent. You know, I can hear these jazz roots and these gospel roots and all the stuff in your chanting. And so when Mantra Soul came out, I was like, yeah, you go, girl. Like so you're my people, you know. I traveled with my Methodist church group. We did a thing called Light Shine, which was a musical that we toured from Ohio to Chicago and back with. And then we went and did some service work out helping people build homes and repair their homes out in Arkansas. And they invited us to a black gospel church. Now, I grew up from a pretty white bread kind of, you know, oh, blinding light, you know, kind of church. And when I got to this black gospel church, I was pinned up against the wall, sister, by the Holy Spirit. And I was like, I never went back. I just couldn't. Even I still play over Zoom. And I got into doing a little gospel at the end of the service on Sunday via Zoom, where I just had to let it go and move that spirit. And Mantra Soul does that so beautifully. And it's what we really need right now is an understanding that there are cultural differences between these religions. You know, I still consider myself a Christian, but I'm embarrassed when we can't reach across the political or the religious aisle to hug and hold each other in our sacred relationship with the divine. And I felt like you really did that with Mantra Soul.
Yeah, well, thank you so much.
Yeah. And
well,
then basically I just kept doing it until I discovered people got together, crazy people who like to chant together, and I did that at 16, and 45 years later, I'm still doing it.
Wonderful. Well, and Bhakti Yoga really is, kirtan is like the gospel of the East. So that Mantra Soul album was really just an opportunity for us to bring the gospel of the East to the West in a way that we could hear and connect and be united with no separation through our voices and our songs. And I just wanted to actually honor Saida Wright and LaRonda Steele, some beautiful gospel singers that just brought it authentically home with my vision. They're from Portland, Oregon, Interfaith Gospel Choir, and it felt so lovely to, I don't have a lot of abundance, but to uplift other people who may not have as much is always a huge thing for me, to be able to give back in some ways. And I had no idea what we would be going through as a culture when I worked on that project. And so at first I was really terrified as a blonde-haired, blue-eyed woman, appropriating culture.
Yeah.
And I also got a degree in diversity education and women's studies. So I have this lens that I'm looking through as well in self-judgment. And so, but the thing that I think about appropriation is we are honoring things that have inspired us. And for me, it's so important to give back to those who have inspired in some small ways. And Sherrie, I want to hear about how you got into the kirtan and yoga and bhakti yoga practice, but I'd also like to have that lead into a project that all three of us were involved in recently called Mantra Sangha, Health and Healing. And so let's hear a little bit about, Sherrie, what inspired you to develop your mantra and kirtan practice? And how did you arrive here with us today on this conversation?
So I've been a singer pretty much since I was a small child. I'd walk around the house going like, and I sang in choirs pretty much my whole life. And every time I would leave choir, every time I would sing, I would be so much happier. And I'm like, why is this happening? Why do I feel so much happier after I sing? But it worked. It happened all the time. And I ended up moving to Western Massachusetts and to the Berkshires, and ended up getting a job at this yoga center called Kripalu Center for Yoga and Health. And I had taken like one series of yoga classes at the end of my time at the university, in which I studied at Indiana University, music education. Mm-hmm. So I did a lot of singing there, and I got a music education degree from there. And my last semester in college, I was like, wow, I'm pretty stressed out. I hear that yoga helps with that. And it did. And it just really transformed me. And then the universe brought me out to Western Mass, and a friend of mine said, you should work at this place called Kripalu. And I didn't know what it was. So I went up there, and it's the largest yoga retreat center in North America. And so, long story short, I taught there while I worked in a gift shop there. I did end up teaching there eventually. I worked in a gift shop there while simultaneously teaching in public schools. And I had 62 7th and 8th graders in the same room with very little to no disciplinary support. So I took advantage of my staff benefits, and I took all the yoga that I could. And at some point, I only lasted 1 year in the public school systems, which was fine. That was enough for me. And then I decided to do the 200-hour training, and here I am like 1,000+ hours later. So obviously I loved it. And I ended up teaching at Canyon Ranch and Kripalu and Cranwell, which is now turning into Miraval Resorts. But I missed music, and I was like, where's music? And we would do chanting and yoga teacher trainings, and I loved that. I loved when we did morning chanting and yoga teacher trainings, and I loved it because I felt that feeling of like, oh, the singing, I'm singing, and it's, it's devotional and it's beautiful, and I missed music. And at some point when I was teaching my asana classes, I just started chanting to people to bring them out of Shavasana, and they really loved it. Like, I just got so much positive feedback from that. And this guy whose name is Billy Lee Myers, he's like he's an angel. He came up to me after class and he said, where's your music? why don't you have music out there? Like, I want to get your CD. And he said, I'm a music producer from Texas. And he proceeded to sit down with me and talk to me all about music and all about the business and all about, like, you know, all these different things. And he's like, you really need to get your music out there. And, you know, in the meantime, you know, I was at Kripalu and I was going to kirtans and I was still chanting, you know, in Shavasana. And then, you know, Billy was from Texas, so, and I was in Massachusetts, so I didn't make my album with him. I ended up calling Mark Kelso, who was the guy
ask,
in
is
Massachusetts.
this leading into this? How did you two start working together?
Yeah, so I never intended to lead kirtan, is the hilarious thing. Like, that was never my intention. Spirit brought me into it. And how that occurred is I made my album for a couple of reasons. One is I wanted to play, I missed singing. I wanted to get my voice out there in the world. I wanted to do chanting, and I wanted to sing people out of Shavasana. And, you know, quite frankly, another like part of that is I needed a passive income generator as well, teaching so many yoga classes to be able to make it work, to teach yoga and do the beautiful work I was doing in the world. And so I went to Mark and made my album, and, you know, all the chants that I wrote, it's called Sukha Hridaya, which means sweetheart. All the chants, you know, are original compositions that I wrote, and, you know, we pieced it together. I came with a little bit of a plan, and, you know, he's a really brilliant music producer, and, like, we put it together in this really, really beautiful album that came out, ended up coming out in 2017. And in the meantime, Kripalu asked me to start leading kirtan. And I was like, I'm not going to say no. So, you know, it's the largest yoga retreat center in North America. So I said yes. And, you know, Mark said yes. And, you know, then we ended up having this amazing drummer named Bill Noren, who was a guest at Kripalu, who came up to me and said, I hear you're doing a kirtan. Can I play with you? And he ended up being the guy that plays with us like 90% of the time.
And Bill is
He's
talk about a sweetheart.
He's such a wonderful being and an amazing drummer. He has a big heart and a sweet spirit. So then we started doing these kirtans. I was like, wait, I know I have a really beautiful voice, but am I like, you know, I didn't really feel like I knew enough about mantra. And I ended up studying with Reggie, Gretchen and Carmel up in Keene, New Hampshire at the yoga space. And I took a 200-hour mantra teacher training, which really helped me to learn more about it and dove me, you know, kind of deeper into my own practice and my own understanding of this. And, you know, then I started getting asked by other people to chant with them. Like when Girish was coming through, he asked me to chant and play harmonium with him, which was, I had been a fan of his. So it was like amazing when he sent me a message. I'm like, is this real?
Awesome.
And then it was a big deal for me, and I really loved, you know, doing kirtan with him. And then he passed my number to you, and then I get this text.
After all,
I get this text from Johanna Beekman, and then I was like, and then I just had this really amazing connection with you when you were out in Massachusetts, and we did a couple of things together, which was amazing. And, you know, I felt so honored to be able, you know, to do that with you, to do that with Girish. You know, I feel honored to be able to do this with Mark and with Bill, and, you know, so many others that have played with us, like Greg Birch, Quinn Tricky, Kalidasa.
Yeah. Well,
Kalidasa.
That's how the path unfolds. It's Dharma. I'm sorry to interrupt, but we're running late on time and we've only shared one of your songs. So I would like for us to do more kirtan. I'm looking at time. We've got about 20 minutes left. So why don't we share the Mantra Sangha Health and Healing music video, and all of those. Gregory Birch has played with me. I love all of you beloveds out there, East Coast, West Coast, such amazing musicians that have uplifted all of us, Mark, Sherrie, myself, Girish. We all share musicians. And so whether or not we named you, we love you and we honor you for all of your support. And I feel that way about Sherrie singing with me and Mark joining for those tours in the East Coast. Such a beautiful offering that we got to collaborate, and the spirit came through. The mantra, the soul, whatever you want to call what we're doing.
I like to say, Johanna, that you excel at weaving people together, because they were really fun events. But then I watched what you did with this thing. We're going to watch the Mantra Sangha for healing, and you put people together. I mean, to be in the same room. I mean, I've been on the stage with KD, maybe a couple times for Omega conferences or something, but to be
Let's
in the
talk
same.
about Krishna Das is who he's referring to with KD.
Sorry.
All of those who do not know what this kirtan circuit is. He's like the grandfather of Bhakti Yoga in the West. He brought a lot of these ancient chants from India to the West. And now us, kirtan bhaktas and wallas, like to so sweetly call him KD, like he's a big brother, a grandfather, an elder in our community. Okay, sorry to interrupt. So yeah, Krishna Das was a part of this music video release that we're about to come across, and that is what Mark was referring to, is that we put together this incredible music video, and I featured Mark and Sherrie and Krishna Das and Kamini Natarajan and another one of my teachers, Gina Salah, and they were from all over the world, New York, Los Angeles, Costa Rica, Montreal, Quebec, I had a friend that was stranded in Italy, my friend Jim Beckwith, and he's been producing and performing out there, and we all just continue to sing, and that's the beauty of it. Actually, I was inspired by your live streaming every day to be like, you know what? I miss my friends. I see them online. Let's get together and make something forever. And also that will change the world. So this beautiful mantra that came through Sri Shakti Amma in India, teacher, guru who is still alive, embodying the energy of Narayani Ma, the Divine Mother, has transmitted this mantra to remove all disease and rebalance the earth during especially tumultuous times. And it's from ancient Indian texts, and also it's a new transmission, this Nasi Nasi. So it's a mantra to remove all disease or vanquish all disease. And it's a Kali mantra, so it's a very powerful mantra to destroy negativity. And
aim that one well, sister.
And so I couldn't help but put together this project and bring us together. And that is actually, thank you, Mark, for that comment on Bhakti Yoga and unity, because that's what it is. It's that we are connected no matter where we are, and that when we sing, even when we're thousands of miles apart, Spirit hears it, listens, and those prayers multiply and then help people who are suffering, who may not even be tuned into the practice. At least that's my belief and my prayer with this energy that I put in this life on this practice. So let's give it a watch and a listen and feel the Bhakti Yoga.
Yes.
Thank you, Sherrie. Thank you, Mark. It's so lovely to connect with you in this platform. And man, did these two sing and dance. Watch.
Om Krim Mahakali Sarvarogam Nasi Nasi. Om Krim Mahakali Sarvarogam Nasi Nasi. Om Krim Mahakali Sarvarogam Nasi Nasi. Om Krim Mahakali Sarvarogam Nasi Nasi.
Sarvarogam Nasi Nasi. Om Krim Mahakali Sarvarogam Nasi Nasi. Om Krim Mahakali Sarvarogam Nasi Nasi. Om Krim Mahakali Sarvarogam Nasi Nasi.
Sarvarogam Nasi Nasi.
nasi. Om Krim Mahakali Sarvarogam nasi 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 nasi. Nasi, nasi, nasi.
Wow.
That's,
So,
this never gets old. That's
It's
beautiful.
so beautiful and so needed right now. It's,
well, I'm just really grateful and honored that you donated your time to be a part of this charity project to help the kids in Nepal through Matrada Nepal Foundation. My family's been sponsoring a child and watching Priti grow and mature into a young woman, and she's just so grateful for all the support. And so I'm hoping together we can do what we could not do alone as independent contractors ourselves and give a little bit of nothing away because it's more and more difficult as musicians to make a living. And that brings me to a point. Where can people find your music, Mark and Sherrie? Actually, first, Healing Mantra, Mantra Sangha, Health and Healing can be found. The official music video is Mantra Sangha, Health and Healing official music video. Please share that, viewers and listeners and friends. And any comments or inspirations around that process. And my music can be found at johannasings.com, including that production, which is a collaborative project with 24 mantra artists to support health and healing. All right, so that's my little sales pitch. You can check me out on Instagram at Johanna Beekman. Mark Kelso and Sherrie Howard. SherrieHoward.com is Sherrie's website where you can buy and support her. And also, if you want some production or other services, Mark Kelso is at muddyangel.com. We will have those in the chats. And now I'm turning it over to you to tell them more, because you know more about you than I do.
So our stuff is available on all the streaming services, and as you know, Johanna, people have to play those like a million times for it to really like produce much in the way of multiplication. But certainly, right now that I'm in Costa Rica, it's actually the easiest way to get my music. I do have an assistant who will still mail stuff out from the States. If you go to muddyangel.com, people are still ordering CDs and still going out, and I get lovely letters. That's MUDDYNENGEL.com. But Spotify, CD Baby,
Apple Music.
Apple Music,
but
listen.
Absolutely, listen and listen and listen. The best way to support us though is by buying music directly. My music is on sherriehoward.com, www.sherriehoward.com. So if you want to follow me on all of the streaming platforms and also buy the MP3, that's really awesome.
Wonderful.
You can also listen to us on YouTube because there's some kind of monetization eventually. But really, I think that right now the most important way is to take the music with you, play it however it can come to you. There are places to donate. In fact, we will have our live streams coming up at 7 p.m.
7 a.m.
7 a.m. Eastern.
That's Mountain time. Mountain time, 7 a.m. So 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right. And you can figure that out from there. That's going to be on the events page on my website. I also have some upcoming classes that I'm going to be planning for the future. Those will be on the online events page on my website. I think that's. Yeah.
There's a little donate button on the Spotify links as well. So
and on my website.
Yeah. And when we do our Facebook, we were so grateful on the Facebook Live. Because here we are not making anything basically in Costa Rica, and we have a little donate button, and people have been, tipping us, and sometimes very generously. So that's also supported us as well. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, it is a new world, and so it's really important for our listeners and viewers to know how they can actually support us during this different time in music and art. And it is shifting. And so on that vibration, I want to tune back in and say that we're going to be having a OneHeart festival coming up this winter. And the idea is that I want to help the children, but I also want to help the artists. So we're going to be having a donate button on that festival to go directly to our artists. Mark and Sherrie are two of our first invites because they were a part of the Mantra Sangha Health and Healing project. And so you can kind of check out that video and get an idea of who might be joining us for that program coming up in December or January. We want to wait a little bit while for things to settle and really groove into this new world of electronic business and come out with OneHeart strong coming this winter. So stay tuned for that at johannasings.com. stay in tune with Mark and Sherrie. Shoot them a line on their websites. Let them know what you think about their music. We're going to share another brand new single from the two of them right now. It's a Lakshmi chant. Very appropriate given this conversation we've just had about abundance in the material realm.
And the thing about the Lakshmi chant for us is, it's a recognition of abundance. The same way when we worship God, and say, please come, what we're really saying is, thou art here. It's not a statement of the future coming toward us nearly as much as us coming into the reality of abundance. And we've experienced that again and again, from the beautiful casita that we've been able to live in, to being able to work with Deva and Miten, to your project, Johanna. Like, there's so many, and being able to work with Krishnadas again. Like,
some of the other places we've lived here.
Just an incredible abundance. And this kind of our thank you back to that embodiment of divine abundance.
Yeah, it's our gratitude.
I love that. I love that, because what we think about, it grows, where we put our attention and our energy, it grows. And you're just trusting the universe that you will be taken care of, and you are. And so may all beings have such a graceful moment, given all of the dis-ease in the world, that we may all be resting and lifting in the arms of Lakshmi and the abundance that comes from within to without. Thank you, Sherrie and Mark. It's been an honor to be with you today on OneHeart TV. I look forward to tuning in soon on your live broadcasts and seeing you in the real world someday.
Oh, I know, right? Oh, I miss you.
Oh, I miss you too. But electronics can keep us semi-connected, and I look forward to the real world tuning.
I have this harmonium I got from you.
Yeah, I actually have one of those for sale right behind me. It's like, and I do work with Old Delhi Music, so you can put in a discount code to get a instrument for 5% off. Johanna 5 is your code for anyone who's listening and watching.
This is the perfect travel harmonium.
Yeah, and so
it's in pitch. They can get them in 440. It's really fabulous. Yeah.
I also sell other sound healing instruments, tongue pan, hand pans, and koshi chimes, which are a sacred instrument that really retunes our nervous system, and singing bowls from Nepal and Tibet. And a portion of my Shakti shop always goes to help girls in Nepal get an education through Matrada Nepal Foundation. I kind of love to give back, as I've already said. So thanks for that little plug, Sherrie. I do love that little 10-pound harmonium, and it's been a blessing, right?
Yeah. Totally.
Oh, you got it just in time.
Absolutely.
Oh,
thanks for dropping it off at my mom's house in Indiana, and then she took it the rest of the way to Massachusetts.
On the road, it wasn't that hard to orchestrate, actually. I'm like, then I'm in Chicago, then I'm in Indiana. Yeah, I could just swing through there. Those were the old days, but here we are in the new days. And Old Delhi can actually do free shipping for anyone who would like to get one of those now.
Great.
All right. Well, on that note, thank you again. I'm going to have our producer go ahead and pop in that Lakshmi chant to close our day together. Thank you so much for everyone behind the scenes that helps make this possible.
Om Shrim Maha Lakshmiyei Namaha. Shrim Maha Lakshmiyei Namaha. Namaha, Namaha. Om Shrim Lakshmiyei. Om Shrim Lakshmiyei. Namaha, Namaha. Om Shrim Lakshmiyei. Om Shrim Lakshmiyei. Namaha, Namaha. Om Shrim Lakshmiyei. Om Shrim Lakshmiyei. Namaha, Namaha. Om Shrim